Today we're going to be talking about the theory that we all might just be a simulation. I know, it's fucking crazy, but stay with me. I have talked about this theory to people in my life who do not care about conspiracies, they don't believe anything, and then when I explain it to them, they literally are fucking mind blown.
I want to start by re-emphasizing the point that what are called the religions of the East, the ones we're discussing, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Chinese Taoism, are not what we in the West understand as religions. They don't involve that you believe in anything specific. And they don't involve any idea of obedience to commandments from above. And they don't involve any conformity to a specific ritual, although they do have rituals, but their rituals vary from country to country and from time to time. Their objective is always not ideas, not doctrines, but a method for the transformation of consciousness. That is to say, for a transformation of your sensation of who you are. And I emphasize the word sensation because it's the strongest word we have for feeling directly. When you put your hand on the corner of a table, you have a very definite feeling. And when you are aware of existing, you also have a definite feeling. But in the view of these methods or disciplines, the ordinary person's definite feeling of the way he exists and who he is a hallucination. To feel yourself as a separate ego, a source of action and awareness that is entirely separate and independent from the rest of the world, somehow locked up inside a bag of skin, is seen as a hallucination. That you are not a stranger in the earth that comes into this world either as a result of a natural fluke or being a sort of spirit that comes from somewhere else altogether, but that you, in your fundamental existence, you are the total energy that constitutes this universe. Playing that it's you. Playing that it's this particular organism. And even playing that it's this particular person. Because the fundamental game of the world is a game of hide and seek. That is to say that the colossal reality, the energy that is everything, that is a unitary energy, that is one, plays at being many, at manifesting itself in all these particulars that we call you and 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 this and that and all around us. And it's fundamentally a game.
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real one?
So in that Isaac Asimov Association debate, very interesting debate, you said in that debate you think it was a 1% possibility that the universe is a simulation.
Yeah.
You have people like Nick Bostrom.
Or Elon Musk.
Oh yeah, even Elon Musk, that's right.
But you see, they're not physicists.
That's true.
I'm a physicist.
That's true. And Nick Bostrom's more of a theoretical.
No,
he's a
Nick
philosopher.
Bostrom's actually a philosopher.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
but the
reason I said 1% is because I can't say 100%.
Yeah.
That would be a violation of what science is.
Right.
In science, you never have absolute certainty.
Right.
And so my comment at the program was, I think there's a less than 1% chance that our universe is a simulation.
I tend to agree with you.
There have been various models about how the cosmos is structured, over the centuries. And, at one point, people talked about the clockwork universe that we lived in. And now the computer is often the metaphor for how the universe is structured. And Jim, I know you've done some work on this whole idea of maybe we should take that idea more seriously.
Leading a group of both mathematicians and physicists about 10 years ago, we found an extraordinary result in some of the equations that are part of string theory. As I said, what I really do is I work on a subject called supersymmetry. So it's got symmetry in it, but it's got more symmetry than you probably should want to ever see. In the mathematical context of such equations, we have discovered that there are mathematical structures that are indistinguishable from error-correcting codes, as does occur in digital information transmission and establishing reliable digital information transmission. And because of this, many people have concluded that the work that I and my team completed means that the universe in which we live must resemble the science fiction movie The Matrix, where we're all some kind of simulation of some program running, and that's exciting for a lot of people. And then there, of course, you have Bostrom, Nick Bostrom, a philosopher, who has really, put this point front and center for the public and for
who says the computers will take over.
Yeah. He basically says that we're all just simulations.
The world might be a lot stranger than we think. And if you stand back, it might not be that implausible that the truth, whatever it might be something that would sound very strange to us if we suddenly discovered it. So the mere fact that some hypothesis seems strange or odd or even funny is not necessarily a reason to dismiss it. So then you have to zoom in and actually look at the reasons for this. And the simulation argument, which I came up with, it doesn't actually show or try to show that we are in a simulation. It tries to show that one of three possibilities is true. It doesn't tell us which one, only that at least one of them is true. And so those three possibilities are, one, that almost all human-level civilizations go extinct before becoming technologically mature. Technologically mature means having...
In a very advanced way.
Yeah, having developed all those technologies we can already see are physically possible. We just can't build it yet, but we could see that it's possible in principle. So that's the first possibility. There is a very strong filter so that almost nobody makes it through. The second possibility is that among all technologically mature civilizations, almost none of them is interested in creating what I call ancestor simulations. An ancestor simulation would be a very detailed computer simulation of people like their historical predecessors. A computer simulation so detailed that the simulated people would be conscious. The people simulated in the simulation would actually have experiences like we do. Of all the mature civilizations, they're just not interested in... They have other better things to do, with all their resources. They have powerful computers and all of that, but running simulations of their historical predecessors is just not anything that any of them is doing. Okay. The third possibility, which is the one you were referring to, is the simulation hypothesis. The hypothesis that we are literally living in a computer simulation, that the whole world that we see around us is not just in a metaphorical sense, but in an absolutely literal sense, existing only in the computer built by some advanced civilization. So that's what the argument tries to show, that at least one of those three is true.
So let's go over it again. Number one is that civilizations become extinct before they become this super technology society. And
almost all of them, not just most of them. Practically all of them.
Almost 100% because you have to get all. Yeah. Secondly, that if a couple make it through the first, that for some reason they have no interest in going through.
And again, it has to be practically all of them lose interest completely.
And the third, if you don't accept those two, you're left with the third, and that is we're it. Yeah. Almost certainly.
Yeah. And so the full argument uses some probability theory and stuff like that, but the basic idea behind the argument can be easily conveyed, I think. So assume that the first possibility is not true. So assume that of all human-level civilizations in the world, at least some, non-negligible fraction become technologically mature one day. And the argument makes no assumption whether this will happen in 50 years, as some people say, or whether it will take 500,000 years.
Or 500 million years.
500 million years. So then, if we assume that that is false, then there will be eventually some civilizations that are mature. and also assume that the second possibility does not obtain. So at least some of these mature civilizations use some fraction of their computational resources
to have some fun.
To run ancestry simulations. Now, then you can show that because the technological capabilities that such a mature civilization would have would be so extreme, they would be able, even by devoting a tiny fraction of their computers to this end, they could create astronomical numbers of these ancestry simulations. So
you're saying it wouldn't be that hard for them?
No, you can roughly estimate how much computing power it would take to run one, say, simulation of human history. And you can also roughly calculate a lower bound on how much computing power a technologically mature civilization will have. We already have some engineering designs. You could turn planets into computers, and you can see how much, they might have many planets, and they might have other unknown technologies that we haven't even guessed at.
But just with
even just using what we already know is physically possible. You could show that even if they just used, say, a thousandth of their computing power for just 1 second, they could still run astronomical numbers of these simulations of human history. Which means that if you reject the first two possibilities, you have to conclude that there will be many more simulated people like us than non-simulated people like us. In other words, almost all people with our kinds of experiences would be living in these simulations rather than in the original history, because they would create so many of them. Now, if that's the way the world is, that almost all people like you having this kind of visual experience of talking to me and are simulated, then by a principle of indifference that you can argue independently for, you should think you're probably one of the simulated ones.
What's up, y'all? True life stories. Back at y'all again with another DMT trip that was fucking wild. So I hit it again, and I just held it, and as I held it, everything started fucking going crazy. It like started changing, everything started changing. So I just like kicked back, just holding it, looking at the sky, and like the sky started to digitize like Minecraft or something. It was like weird. It started doing like Minecraft and like little squares, like do 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 do, you know what I mean, like that. And then it just said floosh. It was like, but at first it was like, when it started to kick in, it went boof, boof. And when it did that, like everything got hella bright. It was like hella crazy. Everything just got hella bright and shit. The clouds, they started changing and shit. And then it went boof again. And then it just was like different patterns and colors. And it was like people or something. It was weird though, because it was like weird. It was like people, but they was like in purples and blues and stuff like that. And I could barely kind of make them out because it was like so many different shapes and stuff. And like it was starting to get kind of weird. So I said, I'm going to close my eyes. And I closed my eyes. And when I closed my eyes, here come the hieroglyphs. Going all which types of ways and making like the little snakes and the different colors and designs and stuff. And I'm just like looking at it, and it was getting scary. Like it'll get scary, but like I said, I'm not scared no more because I done did it enough times to like not be scared. So as it was changing and stuff, like I started to see it's like when you at school and you start daydreaming, right? Like you be taking a test and you daydream and the numbers kind of get blurred and you might see a little tiny spot on the paper and you'll just be like looking at that spot, just like homing in on that spot because you're thinking about something else that has nothing to do with the test. It was like that. It was like I seen so many of the hieroglyphs, like I was there forever. It seemed like for hours just looking at it. So I just like kind of dazed off. And as I dazed off, I could see the silhouette, like it was like a dome, right? I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like looking up, I'm like, it's a dome. But then you could see like the metal part going down like that, and then you could see another metal piece coming across like that, and it seemed like it was like kind of netted, like it was like kind of like a net or something. And I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, what the fuck am I seeing? And like, as I look closer, I can see through it in certain spots. So I'm like, looking through it, and I see the silhouette of this dude. He like standing over me. He doing like this, like he like drilling into my forehead, and like I could feel like a little burn in here, like as he's going like this. And then as he's doing that, it's like a female. She come by and she do like this, and she look, and then I could tell it's the female because I could see the breasts and stuff like that. And then she take off, and then it was like bam. Then another dude came a little bit later, and he looked, and then he take off. So dude finished drilling, and then when he stopped, he takes off. Okay, as I'm looking through this dome, like I could see that the patterns that it's showing me, it's like a fucking curved TV that comes like from like out this side of my visual, out this side of my visual. It goes all the way around like this, and all the hieroglyphs that I'm seeing is like that curved TV. And it's like when I look a little bit beyond that curved TV, I can see them doing what they're doing. And it was crazy because dude, he finished drilling. And he got up and he walked away, and he walked away. It seemed like as I'm trying to look through this shit and like figure out what the fuck, because it feel like I'm laying down. It feel like I'm laying down and I'm looking up at like a simulation. Like that's what the fucking hieroglyphs was. They were like, all these patterns and shit was like a TV simulation that was throwing me off of what was going in there. It's like I came into a simulation being in here, and I'm laying in this thing and I'm looking. When dude got finished, somebody else came and they like looked, and they looking, and then they like start dancing, and then they went on. And then it was like every couple of moments somebody come and they'll look, and then they'll go on. Like two of them though, they did like they was dancing or something, and they kept going on, but I could see their silhouettes, but I couldn't see like who they were. I couldn't see no faces, or I couldn't see none of that. This was fucking, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy because me seeing the cross, I understand why the cross is so valuable. Because when you're laying back in the simulation and you're looking up at the simulation, when you go in, you see the cross or the womb or whatever they want to fucking call it. But that, it was like a cross. It was shaped just like the way the cross was. That's how it looked to me. It was fucking trippy, man. That was a trip. But it seemed like the one dude, he drilling on my head, and they walking by just looking as he's doing his thing. And it was like, fuck, dude, that's crazy, man. It make you think about all this. It make you think about it like as if, but this allowed the people to come into a simulation, and then it make me think about dimensions, right? Because if this is like all one big computer, actually, that we're in, then yes, you can probably go to other dimensions to where it's different types of beings. And all these beings and stuff in these different dimensions are all part of the same simulation of the same computer. If what I see right now was true, that shatter any belief system that's ever was created right now in this reality. That fucking shatters it. That means that the gods and all this stuff is like beyond some bullshit. It's some shit that's just created in this reality to keep you binded to what's going on, because this is a simulation and we're here for the human experience. So think about that. And I hope that's not what it is. I'm hoping that's not what it is. You know what I mean? When we talk about the creator and we talk about these different things, man, this sounds like something that's programmed into us. It's something that's programmed for us to believe. And then, yeah, when what's name had that vision, yeah, he probably did see a cross. Because when you're about to damn near wake up about this motherfucking matrix, you see a cross. That's what you see. That's why the cross is so big in symbolism and it's been here for so long. The cross is what you see when you're waking up. I don't know, but I'm saying I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but that's the way I'm looking at it. So, man, I'm telling y'all, that was beyond my wildest dreams right there. I thought I was gonna see aliens and beings, but I seen something that brought me to a further understanding than all of that to me. But I don't know if I'm going crazy. Just tell me, man. This true life stories. Just tell me. I can accept it. You know what I mean? But what I seen was that was the wildest thing.